So just to recap where we are, team, and I did link the full plan at the top, but in the most recent weeks, each of you have created a rubric for your respective component of the capstone. That was prior to February break. You last week completed a baseline assessment entry and reflection. So you have a rubric, and then you were asked to populate that rubric with all the names of students, and then holistically, if you didn't have an assessment, where each student stood with relation to the rubric you're going to use for your final project. So today, what I want us to do is, using that rubric, I want us to think about, in each of you in your respective discipline, one standard on the rubric that you think you as the teacher have the opportunity to move the needle the most. Which one standard? If you have two, fine, but I really want you to be thinking about small, purposeful steps that you can take that you really can start to see change and student growth. So if you brought student work with you so you can use it as an assessment tool, that's great. It wasn't required, but sometimes it's helpful to kind of really see where students are at to decide that. Regardless, what I'm going to ask us to do is go back to the rubric, student work or no student work, figure out which standard you're going to assess first. Again, I would strongly suggest you just pick one, two maybe maximum, but one, so you really can kind of own and track that progress. And then begin, if you have not already done so, begin drafting an assessment that you can use in the immediate future. Now, when I mean immediate future, I mean like within the next week. It could be a quick exit ticket, it could be a quiz, it could be a writing prompt, it could be a writing sample, it could be a Socratic seminar where you're expecting students to take notes and then maybe produce or have those notes in some form. It can be a quick assessment, it can be something larger, it's totally up to you, but it would be assessing that one skill you want to try to grow. And then the last component, step 4, is thinking ahead to next week. What student work will you commit to bringing to the next Academy meeting? So Jim, if you could please click on that senior capstone planning assessment. What you're going to do, just so we all, just so we all have this contained on one document for everyone to look at, I put together just a template where you can link all of these resources. And I will give all of you access, but Jim, you've got just reset with you. We'll look at mine. I'll make sure all of you have access. I'm sorry. So here's my sample, and I'm sorry I didn't get to the assessment part, but I will put something in there. So I have my senior capstone rubric, that same rubric that I had shared with you back February when you were doing your own rubric. That's linked there. And then say I were to say, you know what, I really want to get students to do a better job of summary or paraphrasing textual evidence, putting it in their research paper, and properly citing using MLA format. So that's actually kind of two standards on my rubric, but I'm going to try to address those in tandem. I would draft some sort of an assessment where I could capture student project progress. And then with the next steps, what I said is I would bring, if my assessment was a writing sample, that I would commit to bringing sample paragraphs from the assignment I draft that asks students to accurately paraphrase or summarize their research and include a proper MLA citation usage. I didn't specify how many sample paragraphs. I think the more detailed of a plan you have for yourself, the easier it is to hold yourself accountable. But if you don't know that yet, I think that's fine. All right. But it's just to kind of force us all to be like, okay, what am I bringing? What am I bringing next week? And I will share. I see that list I got. I will share this with you right now, just so everyone can link their rubrics, their assessments, and we can start to see what each other's looking at. Does anyone have any questions? I figured we take, it's about 1:02 till about 1:15, Jim, if that's okay with you. To either work, you can work on your own, you can work with me, you can work with a partner, to start thinking about what of the standards you want to focus on in your rubric, and then an assessment. Make it big.